You're sitting in a small room that smells faintly of antiseptic. A machine hums somewhere behind a wall. Your name is called. And in the seconds before the doctor speaks, your mind does something very ancient. It scans your own body from the inside, searching for a threat it cannot see, cannot name, and cannot fight with its hands. That feeling in your chest right now, that quiet animal dread, is older than language, older than farming, older than your species, because the enemy you are imagining is not new. We tell ourselves a comforting story, that cancer is a modern punishment, a price we pay for factories, cigarettes, plastic, sugar, stress, that somewhere, deep in our past, there was a version of the human body that did not betray itself like this. But the bones disagree. Even South Africa, in sediment older than our species, someone found a small foot bone, a single fifth metatarsal. It sat in a museum drawer for decades, unremarkable, until a machine designed to see inside solid rock finally looked through it. And what appeared on the screen made the researchers go quiet. A cauliflower-shaped mass, bone growing where bone should not grow, sclerotic edges, invasion beneath the surface, a pattern any modern oncologist would recognize instantly. Osteosarcoma, 1.7 million years old, not a mummy, not a Neolithic farmer, not even a member of our species, a hominin, walking on two legs across a landscape we would barely recognize, carrying inside their foot the same disease that fills our hospitals today. So here is the question that quietly rewrites everything you thought about your own body. If cancer is that old, why does the archaeological record feel so empty of it? Picture the person who owned that foot. Imagine standing at the edge of a group moving across open grassland. You hear footsteps ahead of you, breathing, the soft click of stone tools against a hip, and you feel something wrong in your foot. Not a wound, no thorn, no bite, just a swelling that grows a little more each week and a pain at night that no position can quiet. You watch the others move ahead. You smell the smoke of a fire you may not reach before dark, and somewhere beneath the fear of the pain itself, a deeper fear rises, not of dying, of falling behind. Because in a world built entirely on movement, the cruelest symptom of any disease was never the pain. It was the moment you could no longer keep pace. Your brain still carries this program. It is why a modern diagnosis feels less like a medical event and more like a social one. Why patients whisper, before anything else, "I don't want to be a burden." That sentence is not modern. It is 100,000 years old at least. It comes from a time when the group's survival depended on every set of legs, every pair of hands, every mind that could still remember where the water was. And yet, and this is where the story turns, those groups did not simply leave people behind. Anthropologists watching modern hunter-gatherers noticed something that quietly demolishes our image of prehistoric brutality. When someone falls ill, food arrives from other people's hands. Sleeping places move closer to the fire. Tools shift into new laps. Children are gently steered elsewhere. The camp itself sometimes chooses to walk a shorter distance the next day. And the next. And the next. Neanderthal skeletons tell the same story in bone. Individuals who survived injuries that should have killed them within days, healed fractures, remodeled joints, years of life after a wound that made independent survival impossible. Someone fed them, someone carried them, someone stayed. This is the part of our history we forget. Long before medicine had a name, care already had a shape. But cancer is different. Cancer does not announce itself with a wound. It hides. And this is why the ancient record looks so misleadingly clean. Studies of modern skeletons from people we know died of cancer. People with full medical records show something staggering. Fewer than 1 in 5 leave any clear mark on the bone. Nearly 40% leave nothing at all. The flesh vanishes into the soil, and the diagnosis vanishes with it. So when archaeologists sift through ancient bones and find only scattered tumors across 1 million years, they are not looking at how rare cancer was. They are looking at how hard cancer is to preserve. The record isn't proving ancient purity. The record is lying to us, politely, silently, by omission. And once you understand that, a strange thought becomes unavoidable. Somewhere in every generation of humans who ever lived, someone woke up in the dark with a pain they could not explain, felt a lump their fingers kept returning to, grew thinner without wanting to, watched their own strength drain into a body that had somehow become a stranger. They had no word for it, no scan, no name for the rebellion happening in their cells. But they had something we sometimes forget we still have. They had other humans. Consider what that actually meant. A person too weak to hunt could still repair a spear. A woman who could no longer walk far could still hold the memory of every plant in the valley. An elder unable to travel could still watch the children while the young adults foraged. The body failed. The person remained. This is the deepest secret of our species, and it hides in plain sight inside every modern cancer ward. The oncologist, the nurse, the family member driving you to treatment, the stranger who donated blood, the scientist in another country who spent a decade studying a single protein. All of them, every one of them, are running the same ancient program that once made a group slow its pace for a limping companion 1.5 million years ago. The technology changed. The instinct did not. Maybe that is why the deepest pain of cancer is never only physical. It moves through relationships. One person falls ill, and slowly, almost invisibly, an entire circle begins to rearrange itself around that illness. Someone's schedule shifts. Someone's sleep shortens. Someone's ambitions quietly step aside. Someone's evenings are spent in hospital corridors instead of at home. And this scene is not new. 100,000 years ago, when a single pair of feet began to slow, it was never just one person's rhythm that changed. The whole group's rhythm bent around them, and in that quiet adjustment lives one of the oldest truths about our species. Humans have never survived on individual strength alone. We survive on the patience of others, the presence of others, the refusal of others to keep walking when someone can no longer follow. When the body begins to break inward, humanity, strangely, tends to move closer. And here's the part that should quietly rearrange something inside you. Cancer is not an invader from outside. It has no teeth, no claws, no intention. It is a lineage of your own cells that stopped cooperating with the rest of you, a tiny society of defectors inside the larger society of your body. The tumor is made of you, which means the enemy in this story is not foreign at all. It is what happens when cooperation fails at the smallest scale imaginable, between cells that were supposed to remember they were part of something larger. And the response to it, across every human generation that has ever existed, has been the exact opposite: cooperation, strengthening at every larger scale. Cells fail, bodies compensate, bodies fail, groups compensate, groups fail, generations compensate, passing knowledge forward through time to strangers they will never meet. You are alive right now because of that chain. Someone in the Pleistocene refused to leave someone behind. Someone in a medieval village nursed a stranger through a fever. Someone last century spent their entire career staring at cells through a microscope so that someone this century might live a little longer. None of them knew you. All of them, in a sense, were caring for you. So the next time you feel that quiet dread in a waiting room, remember what you are actually feeling. Not weakness, not modern fragility. You are feeling an ancient body noticing an ancient vulnerability in a world that has finally lived long enough and looked closely enough to see it. Cancer may be one of the oldest failures inside a human being, but caring for someone who is sick may be one of the oldest things that ever made us human. And somewhere, still in the dark of that first cave, a fire was moved a little closer to someone who could no longer walk to it. That fire has never actually gone out. You are sitting beside it right now. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Back Times, hit the bell icon, and share this video with someone who loves history.